Hey, welcome back to the Shopfix channel, a community joined together for the love of woodworking. I recently built these custom cedar trestle legs, and to secure the pieces together, I decided to embed a dowel rod in between the adjoining pieces. I want to detail this process because I believe the techniques I used, even as basic as they are, can come in handy for many woodworking projects. I began this process by securing tape in place across where the dowel will be roughly located. The center punch will mark the wood as well as make a small reference hole in the tape. I will be centering a single 1-inch diameter dowel through the middle, however this technique could work regardless of if the dowel will be centered to the workpiece or not. I then ensure the orientation of the pieces is correct by placing the X on the proper side. After placing this piece on top, I began to line it up so it's positioned in the middle of the board. This will be the final placement in the end, so it's important that this is measured as accurate as possible. Once that final placement has been made, I will need to carefully remove the tape and transfer it to the other piece. If you're not using double-sided tape and there's no sticky side, you'll have to secure it with another piece of tape or a thumbtack like I used in this example. Once I had both sides of the tape firmly secured with both of the thumbtacks, I then carefully removed the leg from the base. I flipped the leg over and then used a center punch to mark the location of the hole through the tape. With the center markings on both pieces made, I can now drill the hole out for the dowel pin. I use a drilling jig to ensure that my drill stayed as close to 90 degrees as possible. Sharpening my auger bit well prior to drilling made this process much simpler as well, as a dull bit would have made the drilling jig really inefficient. Once that was done, I then drilled a hole of equal depth into the base by utilizing the depth stop on the drilling jig, which I set prior to drilling. With both of these holes drilled, it was time to get the dowel pins ready for the glue up. I drilled two 1-inch diameter holes at a 3-inch depth, so I needed a 1-inch diameter dowel pin that was about a 1/4 inch shy of 6 inches long. So I've used large dowel pins and glue ups like this in the past, and what I've found is that if it's too snug, the glue won't have enough room and oftentimes the dowel will set too quickly and not seat properly. To ensure this doesn't happen, I sanded the dowel to a slightly thinner diameter so it would have a looser fit and allow for plenty of glue within the joint. Once the dowel pin was fitting correctly, it was time for the glue up. I decided to use tape to help keep the glue off the wood, and it ended up helping with most of the glue squeeze out I had. I figured the tape would also help me align the posts onto the base as well. For this glue up, I began by placing glue within the hole of the base and coating the edges by using a Q-tip. I did the same for the hole in the post as well. I then placed glue along the top and spread it evenly across the surface. The dowel pin also got a coating of glue, and once that was spread around, I placed it within the hole of the base. I'm obviously deliberately over applying the glue here because I'd rather wipe off any excess than to not have enough and have an improper glue up. Once I had the post secured onto the dowel, I put pressure onto the post to squeeze any excess glue out before clamping the two pieces together. After wiping away the excess glue, I used 4 parallel clamps to secure the post, dowel, and base all into place. I then mounted on the other 2 clamps and let it dry overnight. After removing the 4 parallel clamps, I had myself a solid base for my custom trestle table. To further increase the durability of these trestle legs, I also decided to drive in 2 6-inch screws up to the base, and I'm not sure how much they'll help, but at least they're there for added protection. Thanks for tagging along with me, and I hope this video gave you an idea worth keeping. Thanks for watching. See you next time.